Hey guys, so this is gonna be an update video from me. So a couple of things happened for the past month, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut back on how many episodes I'll be making and uploading per week, because of that. Um, so instead of doing 3 episodes like I usually do, instead I'll do 2 episodes per week, one on Mondays and the other one on Wednesdays. On Mondays, at the moment, I'm still doing Gothic 2, and on Wednesdays is going to be Elix time. And the reason for that is because, and this is going to be not a big story, but it's going to take some of your time, I guess. So if you want to listen, go ahead. So, okay, so let me start with the fact that I graduated from college about a year and a half ago at this point, with a bachelor's degree in, well, to put it simply, it's design, but I'm more of like an art generalist who does a bit of everything. Like, I do graphic design, I do motion design, I do even 3D, utilizing both a bit of programs like Cinema 4D, ZBrush, Autodesk Maya, and Mudbox. I'm pretty sure this all sounds like a foreign lingo to all of you, but those are usually the programs folks in the 3D industry know about. And, you know, they have their own, how to say this, qualities or things that they're good at and things that they're not so good at, so you kind of have to learn a bit of everything in that regard, you know, and switch between software depending on what you need to do. But yeah, and ever since I graduated, I have not been able to find a job in my industry. Not even 3D, even like in graphic design or motion design, I've been having quite a tough struggle with that. And only about 3-4 weeks ago did I actually found a job, finally. Like a full-time job where I gotta come to the office like 5 days a week. And unfortunately, it's a kind of job to which I have to commute for like an hour, and I have to be at the office at like between 7:30 and 7:30 and 8. And then I have to leave between 4 and 5 p.m. And in order to even go to my work, I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So by the time I come home and work throughout the day, I get really tired, and then I also have, like, you know, my family to worry about, you know, because they also want to spend time with me, and I also want to spend time with them, obviously. So it's been a little tough trying to record a lot of episodes, especially because all of my episodes they tend to be like an hour long, even though I try to aim at 40 minutes, and I'm sorry about that, guys, but it's just I want to get more things done in the video game, so I ended up always doing overtime in that regard. So yeah, that's the little story I have. So far, I like my job so far. And man, it was such a depressing time too. Like, I don't really sound like that when I do recording video games, you know, and that's because I love the video games I play, and I love just sharing the video games I love, sharing the things that kind of like make me laugh or make me kind of smile, I guess, and stuff like that. But it's been quite a depressing year and a half for me, because I went to a lot of interviews over that time, and some of the people with whom I interviewed, they kind of like said something like, you know, oh, like, you know, you don't have like a very specific area of concentration, you know, that like, basically they said something like jack of all trades, master of none, which, you know, it makes sense in a video game because no one really does, because it would take a lot of time to actually make a jack of all trades that would, not be like an overpowered character or, well, yeah, pretty much character, but also wouldn't be like too weak either by being too spread out thin. But anyway, in video games, perfectly applicable statement. In real life, however, not really. It isn't. Because life is always constant learning, it's always constant improvement. If you don't, you stagnate. creatively especially. It's really good to know like multiple software, multiple design fields, like what I do. And it's also because I was very curious about, oh, how do you do this? Oh, how do you do that? I want to combine this and that. And so like having some people tell me that from the industry, it was very unmotivating, I guess, at least for me personally, because like I'm the kind of person who puts everything I have like towards making really good work, really good projects. I never do anything half-assed, like I really hate when like I have to work with people who do that, because the entire project then starts to suffer and the work quality goes down as well and things like that. So telling someone, or rather hearing that something like that from someone who does not even understand what I had to go through just to get to where I am, it's really disheartening. On the other hand, I just tried to relax and believe that maybe it wasn't my company, or maybe like the what's the word in English, like the people were there weren't quite my fit either, and I'm just glad that I was able to find the company and the people right now with whom I actually do seem to more or less sync and click with, and especially in terms of like work ethics, especially in that regard. So I'm more or less happy about that, but it just takes time to getting used to it and things like that, because I have to rebalance everything in my life. On the other hand, now I have now I'll be able to deal with financial crap because I have a job, a full-time job, and man, it's really tough in the time of coronavirus, because you keep hearing about unemployment rates, skyrocketing everywhere. Not even just in America, across the world, pretty much. The only thing I can really say is, if you're in exactly the same situation, is that keep searching, keep applying. You can also like keep thinking of new ways to maybe like branch out into different, I would say, job areas, or maybe gain new skills if you're able to, because self-learning, it really helps a lot in getting through necessary parts of life, I would say, and stuff like that. So never be discouraged. I was discouraged first time, I would say, for a good 3/4 of a year. I was pretty much like that, and then I just said like, it's gonna be whatever it's gonna be. If I won't be able to find a job by this fall, then I'll just work temporarily in retail or something until I find a better job or something like that. But thank God I didn't have to go through that, and yeah. So that's one part of the story. The other part of the story that I really do want to point out, and hopefully maybe it's something that maybe will help you look a little bit differently on life and the people around you, is that have really great relationship with your family, with your siblings, your parents, because in times where, at least for me personally, I probably wouldn't have been able to survive if it wasn't for my family, because I live with them and they support me, I support them, both, well, financially now, but emotionally especially. We talk it out everything. We brainstorm, um, we discuss things, and it really helps. It really does. And especially because in times of the coronavirus, where everyone is stuck at home, blah 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 blah. Um, it's really important to at least try to understand each other, and things like that. And especially, for example, if you have like parents who are like older, like 40, 50, 60 years old, also be a bit more like understanding, because they're not young anymore. They're not. And as far as I know, a lot of people, the more they age, they tend to be either more grumpy or a bit more emotional. So, be mindful of them. They also likewise, probably will understand. If not now, then they will eventually, with time. Um, so that's actually one of the things I really wanted to point out. I don't really. I had like so much to talk about in my head, and now like poof, I have nothing. Almost literally. So that was pretty much just my little life story, in that regard, and that I found my life is finally stabilizing enough so that I can more or less be able to branch out or think about other things. Maybe like more about the channel. Not quite in the episode expansion area, but maybe like do other projects besides Let's Plays. Because one of the things I really wanted to do at some point is to make, I would say like game analysis videos, or maybe even like, if not videos, then maybe like a blog or something. Because I have a lot of things to say about video games, because I play everything. Well, maybe except horror and like, I don't know, first-person shooter games that don't really have any storylines. Those ones, or like action games that don't have any story whatsoever, those ones I tend to not play. Because I get bored when there's like no proper dialogue or characters keeping me going, or like the storyline not quite being that great. Uh, so so I have a lot of things apart from that to talk about, especially because, at least in my opinion, I more or less seem able to see, the good and the bad of certain video games. Because all the video games, they have some kind of a game design aspect that is really great. But some of them have more of the bad rather than the good, but you can still find some of the good. So I really wanted to, make objective videos, or rather objective analysis in that regard. Especially because, for example, and it's just an example, with games like Gothic, as much as I love Gothic, it does have a lot of problems with it. For example, combat. Yes, I love combat, but sometimes there's some issues with keyboard inputs. You press an attack and it either not registers, that's one thing, or it's too delayed. That's another thing. And then there's also the issue where, for example, at least if you think about it, you make a video game, at least back in their days, you make a video game that really had a lot of bugs. So my question is, for example, how playable was the game back in the day, and like how was it received? I mean, I guess back in the day maybe it was received a bit better, but still, for some people the bugs were more or less game breaking, and imagine yourself where you buy a video game and you're not able to play it because you can't literally launch it. Your computer refuses to, or something like that. Granted, some of the bugs are more related to modern computers more rather than older ones, but still there were some bugs that caused some glitches or crashes that back in the day probably were not really that easy to patch up because I don't know how the internet was back in the day. Like if you could just dump all the patch files into the internet and then download them or something. I don't know about that. Or, as a better example, actually, is probably Vampire the Masquerade, the Bloodlines one. Because as far as I know, that game was almost literally unplayable. Because of the fact that some of the development was really, really rushed. Maybe not at first, but towards the end it was, and I'd imagine they weren't able to speedily patch up the game or fix the bugs. But nowadays, however, because of all the unofficial patches and things like that, it's a fantastic game, and you get to experience it, you get to see it, you get to feel it, to play it. But back in the days, though, no. It was probably a big no. At least that's the horror stories I hear all the time. So, in that regard, you also gotta keep in mind, when the game first came out, in what kind of state was it in comparison with also the type of hardware it was meant for, because some of the things that you may experience now are obviously different than when it first came out back then, and although that information might be a little harder to find, obviously, but also gotta keep that in mind, and it's something that I do want to aim for, and the kind of objectivity I'm aiming for. Analyze literally every nook and cranny of game design and how it goes along with the development and reaching the given deadlines that was publicly announced and things like that. But yeah, I think that's it in terms of what I wanted to talk about. It's pretty much just the update and that life story about, hey, treasure your close ones, treasure your siblings, treasure your family, because you know what? In lifetime, you'll only ever have one, like maybe in terms of blood related, one sister, one brother, or I don't know how many siblings you have, or, also you'll only ever have, like, in your lifetime, one father and mother, maybe more from the blood related rather than, if, for example, if you're adopted or not, but still, keep in mind that, we don't know what's gonna happen in life, and it might be a bit depressing, but keep in mind that. Man, I'm losing my words. But anyway, that was it. So thank you for listening, because there's not much to watch apart from if you see my new updated video, a looping video over here about the pondering about life. Yeah, no. It's literally the same design as the streaming intercession video and the offline still image that I have. So yeah, anyway, thank you, and I hope to see you in one of my Let's Plays, I guess, if you want to. I don't know. That's up to you, really. But yeah, bye-bye.